Welcome to Morganton Live. I'm here with Regina LaFrance. And Regina, I'm excited about having you on the podcast because you got some unique book coming out, and it's your whole life. And so let's get right to it. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, my name is Regina LaFrance. I grew up in Portugal. I moved to the United States when I was 18 years old, and I lived in Boston for 37 years. About 5.5 years ago, my husband and I moved here to Morganton to be close to our family and to be near the beautiful mountains. And
It's beautiful here.
yes, it is, and
It's a
it's been
restart.
great.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Well, we're glad to have you. Now, Regina, let's, a lot of times in the podcast, we kind of go on about different things, but this is kind of specific. And, I'm really excited about you kind of telling people about your book, about the background, how your abuses started. And, man, you said some neat things to me just kind of outside of what I thought about abuse. And let's talk a little bit about that. You tell me the background.
Yeah, so I grew up on an island, and between the ages of 6 and 9 years old, I had a wonderful childhood. Wonderful memories of growing up on a farm and caring for the land, and everything I know my father taught me
Right.
to do. When I was 9 years old, our local priest began to molest me, and when I was 10 years old, the unthinkable happened. And from that point on, I lived a life of depression and chaos in my mind. Because of my wonderful childhood, I had the foundation and I had the tools to go ahead and have a good life.
Right.
But inside my mind,
It was broken.
very broken.
Wow, from someone you trust. And so
Yes.
that's happened to so many people.
So many.
Especially on a religious side.
Yes.
People you think you can trust, but wow,
Yes.
continue.
That's true. So through my teenage years, I was very depressed and basically so depressed that I walked away from my family. And my only goal in life was to leave and never return.
And they didn't have a clue what was triggering all this.
They didn't.
It really tore you mentally, I'd imagine, not only just, physically when you endure something like that. We talked about how we've all had all these kind of abuses in our life. It seems like it's unavoidable, it seems like. And but wow, so how did you continue on, and how did that affect you moving away from your family and and them dealing with that too?
When I was little, my nickname was Ladybug
Yeah.
because I was very small and dark, and my father told me I was the most beautiful ladybug he had ever seen.
Yeah.
My abuser told me when I was 9 years old that I was no ladybug, and he called me cockroach for a year. And he told me that my parents would never believe me and that they only called me ladybug because I was stupid and they felt bad.
Wow.
And I believed him for
Wow.
about 40 years. I hated myself. And I hated who I was, always thinking that I was ugly and stupid.
Right.
And for my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I lived a life of chaos and
Yeah.
sadness.
Wow. I mean, it's hard to keep all those kind of things packaged up inside of us in our minds, and that's why I love to see people's backstories and how it can get real, because you really don't know the hurt they've been through, you don't know the chaos they've been through, and so how did you survive and keep what was your breakthrough, or how did you deal with this in your adult life?
I didn't have any self-value or any worth, so I just went day by day.
Yeah.
Went with the flow. Jobs and relationships and places I've lived. Every time something went wrong, I would just run, never look back.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, when you go through something like that, where do you run to? And immediately I'm thinking, well, we can run to a church. But in your case, or in a lot of our cases, that would be like, nah, I can't go there. Even though there might be some real help in a lot of different organizations, but when you've been abused like that, man, it's a disconnect almost. I'm trying to see how you even made it, and what was your breakthrough, or what was the light that went off and you say, hey, I'm more than this.
So my faith was shattered at a very young age. And I ran to friends, people I met, just kept going.
Yeah.
New jobs.
Yeah.
And in 2015, I was 52 years old. I was working as a massage therapist.
Right.
And one of my clients was unusually tense that day. So I asked her what was the problem. And she told me her little girl was very upset because she didn't want to go to summer camp that year. Something she's been doing for years, going
That's
to
a
that
red flag.
same summer camp. When she told me that her little girl cried to her and said, "Mommy, don't make me go," at that point, I had a vivid memory of me crying to my mother not to make me go to music lessons. And that day, I made a decision that I was going to create awareness of signs of children that are in distress.
Yes.
And my main focus to move forward now is if a child says, "Mommy, Daddy, don't make me go,"
Right.
then you stop everything you're doing
Exactly.
and you find out why that child doesn't want to go somewhere. Because children love to do things.
Yes.
They love to play.
They're innocent.
They love to go. They're very naive and very
Naive.
innocent. And they just want to play and learn
Sure.
things. If you ask a child a question and they don't say anything,
Right.
it's because they have something that they like to say but they won't.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why I'm here.
Right.
I decided to tell my story. I decided to write my book to create awareness.
Yeah.
My book is sad and it's dark at times, but it's also very inspiring.
Sure.
And my goal is to create a movement,
Yeah.
to move forward,
Right.
to create happiness
Yeah.
in the world of darkness. I want to move mountains with people that were traumatized when they were young.
I think it's a well-received message, Regina. I know there's so many people out there, they don't feel like they can open up. They don't feel like they can, there's so much shame. And, you know, once you get past those things, and like you said, and, you know, it's just like a healing begins, a release begins, and there's a new hope,
Yes.
a new beginning. And you're going to inspire so many people just by telling your story, you know, because there's so many people that when they hear it, they'll say, "Man, that's me. Well, I need to get this book. I need to see what Regina, you know, this whole lifestyle." Tell me a little bit about how the book come about and the full of that.
So my original intent was to create awareness to keep children safe. But when I was writing my story, the floodgates opened.
Yeah.
And I was able to release that tremendous secret that I kept for the 40 years.
Right.
And when I began to release all those emotions, I began to feel alive.
Yeah.
I began to feel
washing.
light and free,
Yeah.
emotionally free of that burden of keeping
Wow.
that secret.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that I had some work to do.
Yeah.
So I went to the mirror and I had a talk with self.
Right.
And I said, "Self, it wasn't your fault.
That's right.
A lot of people tell you you're a wonderful person, so you must be a wonderful person. A lot of people tell you that you're beautiful. Why
Right.
don't you believe them?"
Right.
And I never believed them because I didn't believe that about myself.
It was crushed in the beginning.
Yes. And the ladybug inside of me begun to flourish.
That's right.
And now we
Rise
have
from ashes.
the ladybug movement, which is to bring that child
Yeah.
back
Right.
to live whatever years one may have left.
Exactly. It's so important. You know, I'm all about the children. You know, we got so many people that have gone through so many different dysfunctions now, and I talk about this all the time. It's got to go back to the kids. They've got to be protected. They've got to be safe. And
Yes.
in our society, it's sad that, you know, I'm such a outspoken person myself. I love children. I did a lot of clown ministry years ago, and, you know, and I've always liked to, the kids always are just drawn to me, and I like that. But now we live in such a crazy world that, you know, even when you're being, you can't, it's hard to even be nice with people thinking, well, there's some ulterior motives here. But you've got to watch people.
That's right.
You know, so I don't play games anymore, you know, with your kids and stuff like that. Where they going, who they with, you know, who's in control, because like you said, they're naive and they'll reach for candy in a van. and next thing you know, tragedies happen, and you spend a whole, decades of a life that's, and we all do. If we got these things inside of us, and just the movement that you're doing, it's going to free a lot of people.
Yes, and my number one thing is to just create awareness.
Right.
Again, if a child says mommy, daddy, grandma, whoever,
Right.
don't make me go. If a child is upset or very
Right.
quiet, and you ask the questions and they don't say anything, that means they're in distress.
Right.
Something is happening.
Right.
So teachers, daycare providers, grandparents, older siblings, next door neighbors, pay
Right.
attention to the children. They will let you know.
Exactly.
But they may not speak.
Right.
They may not say anything in words, but they will let you know.
I think we have to be real sensitive to those around us all the time. I think you should be able to pick up on things if you're aware of it. Like when you've gone through things like this, it's real easy to sense it and pick up on it. And let's change gears a little bit, Regina. Let's talk some of the things that you're wanting to do, how you want to move forward, and some of the events you got coming up. And let's go deeper into what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, so I'm already booked to speak in the Bahamas
Okay.
at a women's conference.
Awesome.
I am also booked to speak in June at a conference for women for the staff of the Sheriff's Department in Charlotte,
Right.
Mecklenburg County.
Right.
I'm
Now
also
let's stop there just for a second, because you was telling me when you came here, you immediately went to work at the sheriff's office, right? And then then you was telling me Mecklenburg County, you went down there. So I got to know the backstory there. Where's all this tying in, adding all this thing? You gonna catch the people? What you just gonna line up?
I was a correctional officer in Massachusetts
Okay.
for a number of years,
Right.
and when I moved here, I went to the job fair looking for a job at Pfeiffer
Right.
exercise place.
Yes.
And Major Banks then
Okay.
was there, and he saw me, came in, and he
Yeah.
put eyes on me, and he said, "Would you like to work for us?" And I said, "Okay."
Sure.
And within 5 weeks, I was working at the downtown jail.
What about that?
And then when we moved to the new jail up on the hill, I was shift sergeant there.
Yeah. Wow.
And then COVID hit, and that wasn't enough for me. I went to Mecklenburg County.
Yeah, you really got double
because
dosed.
I knew that I wanted to launch my book at some point,
Right.
and I just wanted to make more money at the time.
Sure.
And I went to Mecklenburg County every day from Morganton.
Yeah.
And I drove there in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize then was that I was planting a seed.
Yes.
Now going back 2 years, I showed up there asking the sheriff to consider me developing a program for his jail.
Right.
And he said, "You can do anything you want in this jail."
What about that?
That's right.
That's favor. I think favor's the most. When you go, I think about Joseph in the Bible so many times, Regina, and all the things that he went through, but he still had favor with everybody he came in contact with, and you've got favor with people you've come in contact with because you got a passion, and people see that.
That's right. That's right. And I am so enthusiastic about bringing this message forward. If you are a victim of trauma from a young age, and you're afraid that people are going to judge you or people are going to think less of from you, just know this. It wasn't your fault.
Right.
It was not your fault that another person
Sure.
made a decision to hurt you.
Yes.
And some people might say to me, "Well, I'm still with my abuser. My abuser was my own parents, or my abuser was my uncle, or
Right.
my abuser was my grandmother." I
Right.
don't know. It
Comes all kinds of forms.
Yes, it does. And at that point, what I've developed is a concept of a love mindset.
Yeah.
You have to develop a love mindset for yourself. And you create an imaginary bubble around you.
Right.
In that bubble, only you decide who enters.
Exactly.
Anything negative or anything harmful is not allowed in the bubble,
Exactly.
because some people cannot escape
Yeah.
because they're still around their
Right.
abuser. Or
Right.
it could be a spouse.
Yes.
It could be a manager.
Sure.
It could be anyone that
Yeah.
is verbally abusive.
Right.
Because abuse comes in so many different forms.
It does.
And you might have a person that has a narcissistic personality in your life, and you can't move away from that person. It could be an older sibling, it could be
Right.
a parent.
Right.
And at that point, my teaching to those people that have a narcissistic personality in their life is to care for yourself,
Right.
because a narcissistic is never wrong,
Right.
and you will never win.
Right.
So you have to find ways to handle that person
Exactly.
without being affected.
Right.
And those are the things that I want to bring forward. And those are the things that move mountains.
Exactly right. Well, let's say, Regina, people, they get your book, and they're saying, man, I'd like to have a change like Regina has, and what kind of hope can we instill to your readers and the audience that you're reaching? Where's a starting place for them?
The starting place for them and for me was as well is self-love.
Self-love.
Look in the mirror and
Yeah.
say, it wasn't my fault, because
Right.
it is never, ever a child's fault.
Right.
Ever.
That's right.
So, and abuse can come from different ways, like I said. It
Yeah.
could be physical abuse, it could be neglect. You can have trauma from having lived in poverty.
Yes.
It could be a number of things.
Sure. Well, you was talking about that earlier. I like that, because a lot of times when people talk about abuse, they immediately go to domestic abuse or, sexual abuse or whatever it is, pedophiles, those kind of things. But it all starts verbally or mentally at some point, a conversation, but you talked about all the different variations of abuse that people don't think about. They
That's
think
right.
It's not just a sexual abuse. It can be
That's right.
all kinds of ways.
And a lot of times people tell me, well, you're lucky that you had from 6 to 9 years old to have a beautiful childhood. Some people might say, I've been abused since the day I can remember.
Yeah.
My parents were alcoholics.
Right.
Or my father was very abusive.
Right.
My mother neglected us. It could be
Yeah.
a number of things. Or I never had a mother or father. I was in foster homes my whole life, and I never had love. My heart breaks for those people that never had that happy time, the
Right.
ladybug years that
Yeah.
I had.
Right.
But for those people, I also have a message. You have to look inside and find little things that
Yeah.
you love,
Sure.
and start with those little things, and associate yourself with people that are positive.
Yes.
Because once you start thinking positive and telling yourself beautiful things about yourself, even if they just you might
Right.
like a specific flower,
Right.
or you might just like a specific thing that you don't think it's relevant for other people,
Sure.
but it's relevant for you.
You're right.
Start with those little things that you love. It could be drawing, it could
Right.
be writing, it could be anything
Any kind of
really, or
outlet.
cooking or baking. And start with those little things, and every day, morning, midday, night, and even in the middle of the night, if when you wake up, tell yourself that you're wonderful.
Right. I tell you, people they need that. A word spoken at the right time, it can do so much, and it's amazing how words can tear down and they can build up. And people need that. We talked about this a few moments ago about people are needing a breakthrough, and there's so many people walking around. It just seems like there's a depression on them, Regina, because of these things like this that have happened, all the different abuses and stuff like that. So I think you're really going to be able to help a lot of people, reborn.
Yes.
Or their minds renewed.
Yes.
To there's more hope, and that you are loved and you are special. You have
Yes.
something to give. I mean, just look at you where you're at now and all the things that you've done. I mean, it's amazing, baby. But people wouldn't know that.
That's right.
Unless you opened up and said,
That's
"Hey,
right.
this is me. This is and I'm here to help you."
That's right. And the reason about writing the book and bringing the message forward is also because people see me arrive at the scene and they're like, oh, she can do it, but I can never do it. She's
Right.
lucky that she shines or whatever. What they need to know is that for 40 years,
Yeah.
I didn't have a voice.
Right.
And the only voice I had was to tell myself I was terrible.
Yeah.
And that I was ugly and that I was stupid and unworthy. So I had to, it's like a new way of life.
Yeah.
It's a new culture.
Yeah.
You have to
Turn
tell
around.
yourself every single day and every moment of your life, I am excellence.
Yes.
And when you start believing that, that's when you go to the mirror, and it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
it's very difficult to
Sure.
go to the mirror and say, I am beautiful.
Right,
Because we don't want to be like
I
that. But I'm
know.
talking about beautiful inside.
Sure.
I'm talking about kind
Yes.
and filled with gratitude.
Yes. Well,
And that's when you begin to shine. And that's when people start saying, oh, I
Exactly.
like being with her.
Exactly.
She's positive.
Yeah, that's what kind of breakthroughs did you have as far as even that, just shining and loving yourself, and was there any kind of support system that you had, a sister, a friend, somebody that you could come along and say, hey, I strengthen me a little bit here?
Well, number one, my husband Dan.
Yeah.
He has been my rock, and the reason that I keep going every day. I wanted to shine for him
Yes.
because for the time we were married, I was kind of a downer.
Right.
And although I've always been a nice person, but
Right.
I was
You felt
snappy
that
and
inside of you.
always on edge.
Right.
And so he was there to watch me blossom
Yeah.
into this wonderful person that
Awesome.
that I only see beautiful things.
Yeah.
I can take any situation and make it shine like a diamond.
Yeah. That's what we want.
That's right.
You want to walk in and come out with something, right?
And
Yeah, it
I'd
shades.
like to encourage everyone to go to my website
Yeah.
and look at where I've come from.
Yes.
Regina, LaFrancemedia.com.
Okay, excellent. And I know your husband's excited.
Yes.
Finally, he's
Yes,
saying, finally.
yes,
No,
yes.
I know it's wonderful. Now, what is the name of the book? And let's
Shayla.
go through all that and where people can get it and
Yes.
those kind of things. And so
So-
tell me a little bit about how that kind of come together.
Yes, so Shayla is a name that I like.
Okay.
And recently I was asked, do you know that Shayla means small mountain or little mountain
Oh.
in a certain language? And I said no, but then I looked it up. And Shayla also means a fairy's home.
Okay.
And when I was little, this is in the book actually,
Okay.
when I was little, I used to hide in the woods
Right.
from my abuser. And I used to think the flowers were my garden
Wow.
and the birds were my pets.
Yeah.
And I lived in a huge island that is a mountain.
Yeah.
It's the highest mountain in Portugal.
Wow.
And I used to look up at the mountain and feel like a little fairy walking around,
Yeah.
giant mountain. So it's ironic that the name Shayla means
Yeah.
a fairy's palace and a little mountain.
Wow. That's
but,
amazing.
I know, anyway.
The
Yeah.
similarities there.
So I like that name. So I named myself the character in the novel,
Okay.
Shayla.
Shayla.
And you can find the book Shayla here in Morganton at Thornwell Books.
Okay. And we're here at Thornwell's
That's right.
now. having
I'm
a
going to
good
be
time.
That's right. I'm going to be doing an event here on April 4th,
Okay.
Thursday, 6 to 8, I think, and also on Amazon.
Oh, man.
Shayla, Regina LaFrance. You can definitely buy it on Kindle and buy it on softcover for now.
Awesome.
And my website is lafrancemedia.com, and I think everybody in Morganton knows how to spell LaFrance.
Yeah, that's we know LaFrance.
That's right.
Y'all made an impression.
So LaFrance Wellness is my husband's sister's
Yes.
business,
Ann. Yeah,
and
I love
everyone.
Ann.
That's right. Everyone knows her.
Yes.
She has been a great support and also a person that has inspired me to never stop, never give up.
Absolutely.
I'm still a massage therapist. I
Yeah.
still work with her, which was also not planned.
Yeah.
But so it
Well,
happened. that
Ann's kept a lot of people straight here in town.
That's right.
Myself included.
That's right.
She knows how to do it. And I mean, this is exciting, Regina. Just see how the family comes together and all these things come out of blossom. It's exciting to me, and I'm excited for you.
Yes, and again, my message is strong. I'm starting here in Morganton.
Yeah.
But I want to go places.
Sure.
This book is destined to be on Oprah's book club.
I believe it.
And one of my goals when I began to write is that this book is going to be a movie.
Yes.
So we will see Shayla on the big screen.
That's awesome.
But for now, we're going to stay here for a while. And
we'll take care of the garden right here and
That's
take care of
right.
one another. And, man, we want to encourage everybody to look up Regina LaFrance. You'll be able to find her. And, Regina, anything else you would like to say to anybody as far as about your book or what you're going through with your tour and everything?
Okay, so it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
Definitely an exciting time for me. I'm learning a lot. I'm meeting a lot of people. But the most beautiful thing that it's happening is that women and men too,
Yes.
women are coming to me saying, I totally understand how you feel. This and this and this happened to me,
Yeah.
and your book has helped me open my eyes to be a warrior and to
Yeah.
be a survivor, not a victim.
That's right.
A lot of men say to me, "My daughter had something happen to her when
Yeah.
she was little," or "My daughter had something happen to her when she was a young lady," and they hurt deeply knowing that their daughter went through something.
Yeah.
So it's everybody.
It's everybody.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sexual abuse.
That's
It
right.
could be anything, really.
That's right.
And there's a lot of people hurt in the world these days. And if I can just let you know how I did it,
Sure.
and it was just by applying love
Yeah.
and positivity to my life.
Well, when you go through so much pain, and someone can be set free from relating to your pain and knowing that they're not alone, in this shame, in this, abuse of whatever, it's freeing. And we need more people like you, Regina, and putting the message out there so that we can lift this veil up, protect our children, so they don't have to go through things like this. I mean, this is, it's so rampant in our society, and I'm so glad there's warriors like you that are coming out and throwing off all the garments and making things real to people.
That's right. And I want to encourage everyone to reach out to me on Facebook. Shayla at Shayla is the public page.
Yes.
Website. And if you want to know more, go on YouTube, put in Regina LaFrance, and all the interviews I've been doing, they're all there, and you'll be amazed at the
awesome.
things I've done in the last couple months. I am so excited to bring my book, Shayla, forward. In this book, you will learn to become emotionally free. You will learn to appreciate self-love and have gratitude for everything that you have. And you can find this book at Thornwell Books here in Morganton. I will also be here signing books and talking a little bit what this book means to me on April 4th, 7 to 8 or 7 to 9 in the evening. And let's move mountains together.
Let's move mountains. Thank you. I'm excited about this. Regina LaFrance, Shayla. I was looking on the back here, Regina. It says, "To all the people who have fallen victim to abuse as children and never had a voice to speak up, I hear you, I feel you, and I'm one with you because I am you." This is beautiful. I'm excited about this, excited about our children getting set free, and I get emotional about stuff like this. Thank you, Regina, for being on here, and I'm excited about all the people that are going to be taking place, so it's going to be incredible. And we want to thank Thornwell Books for, hosting us and letting us come in here and set up, and Regina's going to be here signing books, so make sure that you check all the links. Look her up on YouTube, and Shayla, man, the ladybug, it's going to turn a lot of your lives around because a lot of people are walking around like this, and so we're excited that she was here on the podcast. And look up Regina LaFrance.
Thank you.